I think everybody on both sides, coaches, players, officials, everybody that was involved in that's going to sleep well tonight. There's a lot of energy out there on the court. People saw. This would have been one to be a fan, to see two teams going at each other like this, and whoever said basketball had to be pretty, nobody. But it was a grind, and that's. I think there's going to be more of those in the league this year too, and it's not like it's the first.
But Bo, if you're going to get through the league on top, these are the types of games you have to win, though, right? The nights when you don't play maybe at your best, to grind through those. Did you like the way your team did that?
For any team, yeah. If you ever, if you want to make any kind of statement, and it's early, it's the third game in the conference, and to shoot that percentage from three and to still come out with a win. We felt we had to go inside. We felt and playing with a lead, you're going to get fouled more. So that's one of the big differences in the number of free throws. So, but we didn't. I don't think we jacked any bad ones. It's just we weren't. The ball just wasn't finding the net. But if we can still play like that on defense and make teams work and try to get them out of some kind of comfort zone, which there wasn't much of in that game for either team, and to come out with one, that's a gutty performance by our guys and by their team.
Tom? Well, what did you think of Frank's effort against the two 7-footers? And can you talk about the defense they played on him, which wasn't really 7-foot versus 7-foot?
Yeah, people ask me about the matchup on Monday, and I said, well, wait a minute, I never say it's this guy against this guy. So Frank did his job. Nigel really helped in the second half to put some side and front pressure on them. They got a couple lobs over the top, but for the most part, we made them work hard too. They were making us work hard to get a shot, and we were trying to reciprocate. But Frank held his own. Nigel, Vito struggled a little bit, but for the most part, I thought Nigel and Frank did a good job.
Had many teams defended Frank that way with a forward and kind of left their center in the middle like that? Have you seen that much with Frank?
No, not really. And what could have changed some of that is if we'd have hit some threes from the other positions early, then sometimes you change what you're doing. So whether or not that's the case, if we end up playing them in the Big Ten tournament or something, there'll be things that both of us try to do to maybe counter some of the things that we saw in this game. But we don't play them at their place this year. So it would have to be in the Big Ten tournament.
Your so-called big three tonight included two guards, Trayvon and Josh, scoring well. Is that a reflection of how tough those guys are, and what can you say about their performance?
Well, yeah, they helped themselves from the line. For the most part, they took care of the ball. And they're just tough seniors. They've seen a lot over the years, and I think that really helped us tonight to be able to put this one away. So it's kind of nice to have two senior guards out there.
I guess we'd all be remiss if we didn't ask about passing Walter Meanwell.
Well, I wish I'd have been around when he coached, because he was from the Cooper family, who are descendants. They've told me a lot of things, and they gave me some stuff to read that Doc Meanwell wrote. And he's an interesting guy. Could have done a lot more than coaching. I don't think I'm not called Doc. He's called Doc for a reason. But no, he won a lot of games, and a lot of people, when I got here in the 70s, there were still people around that knew him. So I did hear some stories back in the 70s, and they were all positive, and must have been a heck of a guy. So to be mentioned, as I've said 100 times, in that same sentence is exciting. I want to thank all my assistants and players and everybody that's a part of this, because everybody's had a hand in it. But it's a nice number. I'd like it to keep going for our guys. But yeah, I'm very humbled to be mentioned with Doc Meanwell, and I know he did a lot for the game too. He did an awful lot for the game. And one of the things that I've wanted to have happen, did you see they're going to pay for parents to go to men's basketball? Pays 90-some% of the bills for the NCAA. We've been asking for this with the NABC for years. Yours truly. Somebody calls and says, Bo, you're not going to believe this. They're going to do it for the football championship game. Oh, and then they're going to do it for the Final Four. Oh, really? Wow. Since we've been paying the bills all these years, you would think that we'd have been first. Oh, anyhow, that's a side note. Well, not just that. I think the Big Ten tournament in Chicago is very expensive for parents. How about just paying for parking? You ever pay for parking in Chicago? Or when it goes out east, do you think the parking is going to be any cheaper? I think they should do more for parents for tournaments. Okay, we'll get off the soapbox.
Wait, in the back.
Bo, Matt said that the game was ultimately won and lost on the free throw line. You guys were 25 of 31. They were 3 of 7. Do you agree with his assessment there?
Well, I'm not a math major. Again, I'm not called Doc, but you just gave two numbers. What do you think? I mean, it's obvious that we got more free throws, but in order to get those free throws and get to the free throw line, we had to do certain things. So, yeah, that's where but that was part of our game plan, too. And plus, a lot of those came when they had the foul at the end. I would say 6 or 8 of them at least.
Anything else for Coach?